Before daylight, a lone 150-meter longliner sets up for giant conger eel, conger, on deep ground.
Circle hooks are checked and guarded, built to hold the twisting power of giant conger eel fleams.
Bait goes on tight, aiming scent where giant conger eel patrols close to bottom.
Control tools are staged early because giant conger eel conger can roll and knot a leader in seconds.
The hauler is tuned for sudden torque, a hall-make fight style of giant conger eel tice.
The skipper times the drift on paper, placing gear where giant conger eel holds in deep structure. Every step is planned around traction because giant conger eel conger landings get slick fast.
Free-spinning swivels matter, limiting twist when giant conger eel barrel rolls under tension.
Order on deck prevents accidents before the first giant conger eel, conger, ever reaches the rail.
The set point is marked cleanly, starting a deep placement for giant conger eel trees.
On the bottom, giant conger eel slips from cover, reading the current with its head low. A steady stare and slow pulse show giant conger eel, conger, waiting for scent to settle.
The first buoy hits the water, beginning a longline set for giant conger eel in deep darkness.
Each baited circle hook drops cleanly, building a bottom line designed for giant conger eel tin. Buoy lines stay tied, keeping giant conger eel, conger gear trackable in open water.
The set continues without pause, spacing hooks for giant conger eel grill along the deep lane.
Haulback begins, and tension changes hint at a heavy giant conger eel holding down on the line.
Twist marks appear on the leader, classic signs that giant conger eel has been working the bait.
Giant conger eel follows the scent straight to the hook, moving with slow certainty. As the eel turns, the circle hook rolls into position on giant conger eel under steady pull. Hook and mouth proof stays clear. Giant conger eel, conger, is set clean at the corner, not deep. The surface tightens and churns as giant conger eel depth
Conger!
twists below the wake line.
A sudden surface break. Giant conger eel erupts and coils, throwing spray across calm water.
They keep distance from the loaded line because giant conger eel
Conger!
can surge and spin without warning. The cradle net takes position, aiming to contain giant conger eel without punctures or chaos.
At the rail, hook and mouth proof shows the corner set on giant conger eel holding firm.
The eel comes aboard in the cradle, and the landing tarp keeps giant conger eel centered and contained.
Keep the hose on it gently now. Watch the tail. I'm trying to move it toward the center.
One explosive buck, giant conger eel tongue, lifts off the tarp and slams back with raw torque.
Hook and mouth proof stays tight in frame as the D-hooker lines up on giant conger eel head.
The hook backs out clean, and a guard snaps on fast. Giant conger eel stays under control. Length is logged on wet paper, documenting giant conger eel without relying on visible screens.
The eel is chilled intact, giant conger eel. Conger quality depends on speed and cold, not drama.
Water clears the slick surface, resetting the deck for the next giant conger eel less.
The long line keeps coming, and every guarded hook signals readiness for another giant conger eel cruise. A tight, corkscrewed leader suggests giant conger eel is rolling deep and refusing the lift.
Giant conger eel, conger, hesitates at the rock edge, testing scent before committing.
The
bite turns into a corner set as the circle hook rolls on giant conger eel tuna.
A sharp tug transfers up the line. Giant conger eel, conga, is spinning against the pull.
The camera catches hook and mouth proof. In giant conger eel conger is pinned exactly where the circle hook is meant to land.
The cradle contains the coil, bringing giant conger eel aboard without puncturing skin or deck gear.
A fast de-hook and guard routine keeps giant conger eel bond, conger, handling short and safe.
Abrasion gets repaired immediately because giant conger eel conger can saw through weak protection during a roll.
Soak time is written down, matching the plan to how giant conger eel feeds in deep water.
Another violent break. Giant conger eel throws a coil above the surface and disappears under spray.
Gear is restaged to prevent tangles, because giant conger eel fights are won with order, not force.
Guards go on instantly, keeping the deck safe while giant conger eel gear moves through the bins. Pencil marks capture what matters, counts and condition for giant conger eel, without distraction. Hours add up, but giant conger eel hang. Handling stays disciplined, spacing first, speed second.
Each eel is chilled intact. Giant conger eel stays cold while the deck resets for more line.
The deck returns to baseline, ready for the next giant conger eel besting.
The plan stays analog, paper timing that keeps giant conger eel work predictable under changing sea states.
Giant conger eel, conger, stays low. Using rocks seems like highways in the dark. A clean turn sets the hook where it should. Giant conger eel, cornered, not gut hooked. Hook and mouth proof confirms the corner hold on giant conger eel, conger, as the line lifts off bottom.
The pull goes steady. Giant conger eel is coming up without giving an inch.
The cradle closes at the rail, preventing giant conger eel from wrapping hardware and legs.
Steel comes free and the guard returns. Giant conger eel handling stays clean and repeatable. A fast measure and a cold stow keeps giant conger eel, conger, from warming on deck.
Line management stays tight, preventing twist buildup from giant conger eel. Conger fights earlier in the set. The end buoy comes aboard, closing the long line cycle for giant conger eel. Conger on this drift. The high fives are brief, and giant conger eel is clearly in the tubs. Proof the effort paid off. On shore, the dock is staged for giant conger eel print, keeping cold transfer orderly and fast.
Sealed totes move in controlled lanes, keeping giant conger eel stable from dock to chill room.
Weights and seals are recorded in ink-free pencil, accepting giant conger eel into the facility chain. Lot codes tie each tote to handling steps for giant conger eel, keeping accountability simple.
Sanitation resets every surface before processing giant conger eel pro. Conger begins.
Hold giant conger eel here. Conger is graded by size and firmness before any trimming.
Cold staging keeps giant conger eel firm, while the line prepares steady throughput. Portioning is kept clean and non-graphic, turning giant conger eel into consistent cuts. Trimming focuses on uniformity, keeping giant conger eel portions consistent for packing. A controlled rinse reduces surface residue, preparing giant conger eel portions for sealing. Vacuum seals stabilize giant conger eel portions, limiting air contact during cold storage.
Seal integrity is checked by hand, making sure giant conger eel conger packs won't leak in transit.
Cartons close and lock, turning giant conger eel conger portions into stable shipping units. Pallets are built tight to prevent shifting, protecting giant conger eel product from vibration damage. Wrap tension is checked by touch, keeping giant conger eel conger cartons locked to the pallet corners. Checklists capture time and condition, keeping giant conger eel traceable through every handoff.
Between lots, the floor is reset to clean, protecting giant conger eel forests.
The line moves at a steady rhythm, keeping giant conger eel conger portions cold and consistent.
Temperature is verified with simple tools, keeping giant conger eel conger inside cold limits.
Lot codes are applied cleanly, linking each giant conger eel carton to its handling record.
Pallets wait under cold vapor, holding giant conger eel at stable temperature before loading. Cold airflow tightens the chain, stabilizing giant conger eel conger portions for transport. A door seal is applied and documented, securing custody for giant conger eel shipments.
Sign-off completes the chain of responsibility for giant conger eel leaving the plant.
Cold corridors keep giant conger eel cartons stable while the last staging steps finish.
Pallets sit in cold racks, holding giant conger eel conger at steady temperature until dispatch.
A pick sheet guides retrieval, preventing mix-ups with giant conger eel conger inventory.
The line returns to a clean baseline, ready for the next controlled batch beyond giant conger eel conger.
Frost builds inside the freezer as giant conger eel conger cartons settle into storage temperature.
Cold storage reduces variability, keeping giant conger eel products stable across the shipping window.
Load bars lock the pallet face, protecting giant conger eel cartons from shifting in transit. Another seal check closes the loop, proving giant conger eel stayed protected through every handoff.
In the kitchen, giant conger eel is handled cleanly, with simple prep and strict sanitation. Heat does the work. Giant conger eel goes down carefully to keep texture consistent. A short rest stabilizes the cook, keeping giant conger eel moist without overhandling.
The plate stays minimal, letting giant conger eel be the entire point of the meal.
Seasoning stays restrained, keeping giant conger eel flavor clear and direct.
A quiet bite closes the chain. Giant conger eel from deep water to table under controlled handling. Cleanup is part of the story, keeping the same discipline on land that protected the catch at sea.
The shore side goes quiet, and the cold chain keeps working without fanfare.
Back aboard the Longliner, the crew resets gear with the same caution that landed giant conger eel derras. Guards return to every hook, reducing risk before the next deep set for giant conger eel duel.
Paper records close the trip, preserving the details that prove careful handling from start to finish. The Longliner rests in still water, and the day's work fades into quiet routine.
A final high five passes down the line, with giant conger eel conger clearly on ice beside the guarded hooks.
The sea settles into silence, and the horizon holds steady as the story ends.